Hello, welcome to Philly Needs a Friend. I'm your host, Phil Drummond, and there's a new show I've started where I'm going to be interviewing fellow musicians and creatives basically about their stories, journeys through their creative endeavors, and just kind of getting to know more about people. I really started this because I want to give a platform to a lot of the artists that I know personally to kind of get their stories out there and have fans see their face and hear them in conversation, things like that. So yeah, this is the first episode. It's my first time ever interviewing somebody, so don't judge me too hard. My guest for this episode is Collin Westerlund. He's a fantastic musician, probably one of the most talented musicians I know. He is a father. He's a good friend of mine and all around just a great human being. So we talk a lot about his new album, Beautiful World, which I would suggest before you listen to this, if you're not familiar with Collin's work, going and checking that out. I'll have the links in the description to his album and his social medias and everything like that. His music's very interesting. It's very uplifting, I feel like. And the thing is, while we're talking, we go through and talk about specific songs on the album. And I thought, originally I was thinking, well, if we start talking about one song, I could kind of pause it and put a clip of the song there. But I felt like that, I tried it when I was editing, and it just made everything a little too choppy. I'd rather it be just one fluid conversation, and then you can hopefully you'll go listen to it before you watch this. If not, hopefully after you hear Collin speak about it and everything, you'll want to go check it out. So yeah, the links will be down below to where to find his music and where to find him in general. It was a great conversation. I had a great time talking to him, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. So how you feeling?
Amazing. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing great, man.
Yeah, you look great.
Hey, you too, dude.
Thank you.
Um, so fucking beautiful world.
It's a fucking beautiful world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been out for what, like a month now? A little over a
Yeah,
month?
it got released the 22nd of last month, so yeah, it's been a month, and it's awesome. I'm so happy.
That's beautiful. Been
hmm
getting good response with it?
Yeah, awesome response. Um, you know, it's tough because we just got on the map. Nobody really knows who we are. We don't perform yet. But
Hmm,
as far as what we've gotten as, our viewers now, everybody loves it. Everybody's really into it.
I love it.
Um, I have one friend of mine. He's a great guy, and he's a rapper,
Yeah,
and he's into really really dark stuff. Generally, that's his
you're
style.
talking about me?
And no, 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 not you. This guy probably can pull one over on you because he's even more so.
Yeah.
Great guy, but he's like, oh, dude, your album is like what I needed in my life. And
Uh-huh.
it's funny because we make the exact opposite kind of music. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "This album is everything." He's like, "I love it. It's amazing." So that is awesome. When I can actually reach people who wouldn't normally listen to the music,
Uh-huh.
that's really cool. But generally anybody liking it and enjoying it and getting something out of it is why I do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. It's
Yeah,
really makes you smile when you listen to it.
yeah,
I like it. I
yeah.
was just talking to my one friend about it because I told him that I was interviewing you,
hmm
and he loves like the old school rock type shit, like like what you make. And
Right. Yeah.
I was like, you have to listen to it. And Kevin said he was gonna send it to him to listen to.
Nice. Well,
Um,
thank
yeah. Um, so I guess I wanted to talk about like how you got started with everything
you. Okay.
because you kind of got a weird like story through music. I feel like
Who, me or you?
you.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
because you used to be in like punk bands and stuff like that, and then you had the rap studio, and the
Yeah.
stuff you're making
So,
now is nowhere near
yeah. Nothing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. it's funny because I started out playing guitar when I was like 13 or 14,
Hmm.
and I was into Blink 182, and that was it. I just played Blink 182, and I played for girls on the guitar. And my father bought me that guitar, and then he ended up getting me a drum set, and I just started drumming like crazy. I was still into Blink 182. So I was, my first experience in a band was it was an AC/DC kind of cover band, and they kicked me out because I wasn't good enough on the drums.
That's what I
And
was gonna ask. When you were in bands, were you doing? Was it mostly cover bands?
so that first band I kind of got kicked out of because I wasn't good enough. And then a year later, I had the drums for like a year, and they were like, "Please come back." I said, "Why would I? It's boring."
Yeah.
So I started playing with punk bands, and I went over to a friend's house and to make beats for whoever. I was using his computer, and they were having practice, and they were missing a drummer. So I just said, "Can I play the drums for a minute?" And I started playing the drums, and they just immediately were like, "Do you want to be in the band?" I said, "Sure, I guess." And it was pretty fun. We had a lot of fun. I played with a lot of bands, and then I played with some metal bands here and there, and some old school kind of metal bands.
Yeah.
And the way I got into piano was rap. So I started making all these beats on a computer, and I was using, I think, my stepmother's computer. And then one day she like erased everything, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like everything I have."
uh,
So I don't think I made beats after that. I said, "This is stupid. I hate this."
just
And
gave up on it.
yeah, I just gave up, and I started just playing more and more with bands. And by the time I was 19, I just started writing. I kind of gave up my social life, and I said, "You know what? I'm just gonna come home. I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna come home, play the piano. Go to
Hmm.
work, come home, play the piano." And that's what I did until I was about like 24,
I was gonna
25 or
say when I
whatever.
met you, that's pretty much where you were. You were just writing for the
Yeah,
most part.
because what I wanted to do, I'm so into the way they used to do it, the way they used to record it, and I love tape machines. I love messing with the tape and reel to reel. So I was telling myself, I'm not going to do anything unless I can record it with 20 guys in the room, and I can have tape machines recording everything.
Hmm.
So years go by, I'm not getting anywhere with it. I'm not getting the right funding or whatever. And about a year and a half ago, I just said, "You know what, screw it. I'm just going to record on my laptop with what I have, which is a $35 microphone, a USB microphone.
Hmm.
And just my headphones, my guitars, my piano, my organ, my drums, and that's it." So I recorded one song, which was "Don't Wait Too Long" and "Do You Love Me Too." I recorded those two. Those were the first two I ever recorded ever.
Right.
You kind of hear it in the album how those are very kind of, new stage versus something like "Here Comes the Rain" or "After All," which I did way later.
Well, I remember you showing me the first recordings way
Right.
back. I
Yeah.
think it was when
And
I came over to your house in Baltimore. You were showing me some of the first recordings you had done.
right. Yeah. No, and I showed a bunch of people, and I got this really great reaction from everybody. And I remember I showed it to Justin,
Hmm.
my manager at the time, and he just was blown away. He was just like, "You have to." He's like, "I listen to this 5, 6 times a day. You have to write more. You have to do more."
Right.
Then I kind of was just like, "You know what? Screw it. I'm putting music on the back burner. I got to work. I got to do things." And then James was born, and they gave me 2 weeks off of work, and
Hmm.
I did the whole album in those 2 weeks. You
Wow.
know,
Really?
so as soon as he was born, I just started. I went nuts because kid really changes you and changes your life.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Can you say that again? You cut out for a second.
Oh, that's all right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah. You're good.
So at that time, having a kid really changes your life. And I thought to myself, well, say my kids get older, and where would I rather be? Would I rather be doing construction and restaurants or whatever and just not really liking where I'm at?
Hmm.
Or should I just take a chance and just try to do this and just see what happens and at least be happy doing what I like doing? So James being born, I mean, right after he was born, I wrote "After All." I wrote "Beautiful World" just like days after he was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got super inspired. I got super charged up. And, Charlene and James, they would need help every hour or so. So I'd take a minute to help them. And then I just go right back to recording.
Right.
I'm very selfless like that.
That's also. I didn't know that you recorded it all so fast.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
then
knew
when
a
I
lot of
cleared,
it. I knew you had to have recorded a lot of it after James was born because you can tell. I guess like your mindset had to have switched a little bit.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big time. I mean, I just got so inspired, and it was a crossroads in my life where I said, what do I want to do the rest of my life? Do I want to keep making an excuse not to make the music, or do I want to, make it and just do my best? And I think it's good. I when I show it to people, I would show it to people who are kind of tough judges, and when they really liked it, I was like, oh, this is perfect, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because what I ran into was in the scene I was constantly going to, whether it was shows, I'd always see stuff and there was something missing, whether it was, I heard a song live and I'm like, this is supposed to go this direction, but then they went this way.
Right.
And instead of bitching and complaining forever, I figured why not just make what I want to hear, because I know other people want that too, and just go for that. And that's what I
Mm.
did. And it turned out awesome.
Oh, it turned out beautiful.
I'm so proud of it.
Um, what if you had to pick one off the album, like if somebody wanted to get into your music, which one would you go with? Like,
Probably
what's
do
one of your
You Love Me Too.
favorites?
You Love Me Too is my favorite.
That's your favorite?
That's my absolute favorite, with the falsetto in the beginning and the drums. And I think that one, the falsetto, it sounds like a choo choo train. It sounds like a train, choo choo. And no, I think that one's so cool. I think it has so much character, and it's just
Mm.
like it's like nothing you hear today. And I think it's After All. I was listening to After All today too, and After All is really nice. I like that one. The harmonies are really sweet.
Yeah, I saw that you had posted on your Instagram story about how you wrote that right after James was born.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that
I
song,
think
I like it a lot. That song's super deep to me because when I wrote it, I was trying to show people, like a friend or an old friend, I'd say, this song's about you, you know?
mm,
It's about my friends, it's about my son, it's about my wife, the loves I've had before, it's about everybody,
just
you
about
know?
all the connections you made over the
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
And I'm super happy, I met all these people because they've guided me inadvertently or, advertently or whatever. They've done it on purpose or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I write the songs I do, the way I do, the style, it all comes from meeting all these different people and just my experiences with them.
Right. Especially with going through all the different genres that you've gone through and everything. You've met a lot of people along the way, I'd imagine.
Oh, totally. And it's been nice because I don't listen to punk anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
can't. I don't listen to rap anymore. I can't. I just it's not something like I'm against rappers or punk. You do whatever you want. It's just for me
Yeah.
personally, I just can't listen to it anymore. I found a certain kind of music that really connects with me, and it's very deep and it's different because I think of the oldies, it's a genre.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people like the oldies. It's just a different, you have rock and then you have classic rock and then you have, like hard rock, whatever. I think
Yeah.
oldies are just a genre.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell somebody I like R&B, but we're talking about two different things, completely different things. Because I'm talking about,
Oh yeah, you
something.
say R&B, they think you're talking about like Chris Brown, R. Kelly
Yeah.
type stuff. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm talking about Smokey Robinson. And, it's like, I'm not talking
Which
about,
isn't that would be almost more soul music, right?
I mean, it
I
varies, I
think that's
guess.
what they considered it.
Right. So, and even soul music today is like its own thing. So I don't know. It's a weird thing where there's so many genres today. There's so many things to be into today. But for some reason, maybe it's the way they record it. Maybe it's like the effects they add in. Because what I do with my music, I only do reverb. I only do reverb and EQ. I
Mm-hmm.
don't do anything else. I don't add anything else. It's all just, and if you hear something interesting on the album, it's probably because I've recorded whatever instrument 3 times, 4 times over
Right.
to create that effect, rather than just throwing a bunch of things on it. I just kind of beef it up with all the instruments and all the lines, and then add reverb. I'm done.
Well, that's what's really cool about your music, I think, is like you were saying, you didn't want to do it until you had 20 people that you could record this great big production.
Right.
But you've kind of modernized it in the way that you can create those sounds, but doing it just with yourself.
Right.
Which
You
I
know.
think comes with like the technology. You're able to record this instrument and then go and layer it again and then come in with.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it in a lot of ways it's easier, a lot of ways it's harder. Because my perspective was I like to see a big performance. I like to see a big show. I
Mm-hmm.
think really, personally, I've had my songs played for by people I just tell them what to play and they play it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the greatest feeling in the world when you're standing there and you're not even moving and you hear your song being played by other people. It's just incredible. It's that to me, it's such a great feeling. And what I notice a lot on social media is everybody's kind of alone. They're kind of just like doing things themselves, which
Mm.
is cool, but I don't know. I like a group. I like to see people working together. And that's why I like harmony, because you get a couple of your friends together and you pick a note, you give a note to that guy, a note to that guy, and it's an actual chord and you sing it loud.
Mm.
It's that's what changed my life. I brought 4 guys into a bathroom with me. I turned off the lights because the fan ran because of the light, and I turned it off so it's just dark. I didn't mean to do it, but it ended up just being pitch black, and we're all standing there. And I went, "You go ooh 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 ooh," and we all sang, and it changed my life. It was mind blowing.
Just
It
five
was
dudes singing in
probably
a dark bathroom.
it was the greatest thing I've ever experienced in my life. That was when I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't look at anything the same after that. That was really a life-changing moment, was just hearing that harmony. And it made me think about how guys plug guitars into, outlets and crank it up to 10. But with harmony, you take 4 or 5 guys and you can get the same volume as a guitar amp. It's just insane.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's super powerful. And it's very spiritual. Harmony is super spiritual to me. It's very deep.
And that's what you're working on now. We were talking about the other day.
Yeah,
Because I feel
pretty much.
like, I mean, I know you were saying you're working on getting a group of people together to be able to do live performances.
Yeah.
Because you did it all, you played all the instruments on the album, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you not hear me?
Hey, can you repeat that after live performances? What did you say? It cut out.
Um, on the album, you played every instrument, right?
Yeah, I did everything. I sang everything. I played every instrument.
So when you go to do it live, are you how are you planning on doing that? I know you were saying you have a couple of guys you've been working with, but are you gonna be having a big band to play with? Is that
I'd
the
love
goal?
to. I'd love to. I have to. So I just moved to Idaho maybe like a couple months ago.
Yeah,
So,
I have a question about that too.
okay.
We'll get
So
there.
I'm getting the group together, and I've got 2 guys who are awesome, Hunter and Ilif. They're really
Mm,
great, and these guys can play piano. They can play guitar, but I've kind of brought them together, and I say, let's just sing, because our harmony and what we're doing with the harmony is going to be what makes us special. Anybody can get up there and play guitars, play whatever, but the harmony is really going to blow people away because nobody's doing what we're doing. And I mean, like, nobody. It's just,
yeah,
maybe
well,
we're
that's
doing
why
harmony.
that's what's so cool about your music is that it is completely different.
Totally.
Now, if you
And
do that, are you thinking you hop on the piano, or you play, or almost doing it like an acoustic set and just having the harmonies being sung, or
the way I was thinking about it was, I'll sit in the middle. These 2 guys are next to me. I'll play a guitar and I'll just play the chords, at least for now.
it's almost
It's
like an acoustic set, but you have the harmonies with them singing along with you and stuff.
Yeah, we have awesome harmonies. And
Mm,
it's so funny because we were practicing, I think last Saturday or the Saturday before. And, we've been working on this one song, and the guys are like, well, hey, when are we going to just do this? And I said, well, we're not ready yet because, you can hear it. It's not there yet.
mm,
We need at least one other guy, and then the harmony's going to fill out. I said, you guys can also sing louder, and then we're really going to blow up. And
yeah.
then right then and there, they blew up. They just
Hmm.
started really kind of going for it. And I was like, there we go. We can now go play live. If you're going to do it, you got to do it with your energy and, put all your life into it. And if you mess up, whatever, it's not a big deal. As people will understand that you're going to mess up, you're a human being. But
Hmm.
when you're actually putting all your heart, blood, sweat, and tears into it, people are going to love that. And the harmony is going to sound better. Even if you're kind
Especially coming in and doing something that is completely different from what people hear.
yeah,
You have to come in full force. You can't come
yeah.
in half-assed because then they'll be like, "What the hell are these guys? What are they doing up
You
there?"
got to be proud. You got to be proud
Yeah.
of it. And that's my big thing is, I always find this when I get into bands is, there's always some guy that wants to be the lead singer, the lead guitarist. And I quite frankly, I never want to be that guy. I just end up being that guy because I'm just loud. I don't care. I just go for it.
Hmm.
And I hear something and I go, whoa, this, we got to do this now. And then, okay, that's going to go perfect on that. My mind just starts working and I get really into what we're doing. So I end up being the guy that's the lead. And then everybody gets mad because I'm the lead and I'm hogging it all. And I'm like, well, you gotta earn it. You gotta take it.
Yeah.
You gotta really grab it and go for it. And we're performers. I mean, you understand, you're a
Mm-hmm.
performer.
Well, yeah,
This
and
is
that's something
what
that
we
you've
do.
told me from, well, as long as I've known you. You've always said that you didn't want to be the lead guy. You wanted to be just more on the producer side and be like,
Yeah.
okay, you play this, you play this, you sing this, you sing this.
That's my dream.
Yeah.
If you never knew who I was, I'm cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
If a song got big that I made and nobody ever knew it was me that was behind it, I'd be cool with it. Because to me, it's not about the fame or the glory or the whatever. It's about getting the music out there. And the reason why I make this music is because I want to hear this, and I want other people who are feeling the same way as me to hear what they want to hear
Mm-hmm.
and hear something different and something new and exciting. And it's just, I don't care about the fame. I'm my personality. We've discovered, after a lot of trial and error, I'm actually the most obnoxious guy in the room usually.
Oh, yeah.
And the glove fits. So now it's come from what's our band name going to be to, okay, it's Collin Westerlund and who the hell ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I tell the guys when they come in. I'm honest with them and say, look, I write a lot. I write all the parts. I know what I want in my head. So if you guys are coming in expecting a band, you might want to think twice because this is literally going to be like Bruce Springsteen. Like you just play my songs and
Right.
we'll get it on. If you've got an idea that's good, present it to me. But I'm running the show. If you want me to pay you for you to cooperate, whatever, I'll pay you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm all about writing good music and making good music. And that's why I do it for the fans, for them. It's not, I don't want to make something that's weird and obscure just to please myself. If it pleases people, that's fine. And my music, there's parts that are weird. Don't get me wrong. But personally, I want to make good music for the fans. I owe it to them.
Yeah.
It's my duty to do that.
Well, that's one thing. Well, two things. One, I was going to say, your music has some kind of, especially Beautiful World, that's my favorite one off the album, the title
Nice.
track. Especially when they get into spring and you turn it on, you're like, bluebirds in the air. It's like, whoo,
Yeah, right.
there they are. I see them.
Yep. Yeah.
But was it early on?
Yeah.
That one's almost kind of like eerie.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's like it fits in when you listen through the whole album,
Uh-huh.
but also like listening to your other songs, it kind of doesn't fit in.
Yeah. Well, because I kind of made a deal with myself with the albums. I said I want to have one instrumental and one a cappella on every album.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that. And early on was supposed to be kind of an a cappella thing. And we were about to release the album and it's like, okay, well, Collin, you need whatever final song, your a cappella song. And I didn't know what I was going to do.
Right.
So I just had, I had some lyrics written down. I had, and I tried out a bunch of different things that didn't work. And I had this one guitar track on my program and I didn't remember even recording it. And I just had that guitar track and I went, oh, that's cool. And then I just started to sing along to it. And I sang that song and then I went, that's cool. And then I didn't even map it out on the piano or on like sheet music. I just kind of guessed all the parts. And like I said, all right, I hope this will work
Almost
out.
like an improvised thing.
It was completely improvised.
Yeah.
And then, I guess it's not an acapella because there's a guitar tracking, so
Right.
I just, I even thought of the other day of re-releasing that as a fun thing, but adding like drums to it or something or bass. I think that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just kind of that was like the last song I did on the album. That song and Groovin' and the last song I Want to Know. Those were the last songs I did on the album.
Groovin' I really like too.
Huh?
I really like Groovin' too.
Well, what's funny about Groovin'? I went and bought a harmonica for like $50 for that song.
Mm.
And then I went and I got home and I'm recording it, messing around. And I needed bongos for the drum part, but I didn't have any and they were just super expensive. So I literally took 2 coffee cans and used those as the bongos. And then the wood part, I used my wedding ring on the wood table as the wood part. So it was super like, the ones I recorded in Idaho were Early On, I Want to Know, and Groovin'. And those were super, super just kind of like low maintenance,
Yeah, I was
not
gonna
a big
say almost more lo-fi type.
yeah, and Love Song was also recorded here. And Love
Mm-hmm.
Song was interesting because I took probably 7 or 8 tracks, and I just all the tracks are just 12-string electric guitars. So it's
Mm-hmm.
literally like imagine a room full of like 8 guys just with the same kind of 12-string guitar, and that's what that song is. There's no other
Huh.
instruments on it. And then I recorded the beach, and then I added that to the song.
Yeah.
And the guy who mastered it, he recommended I take the beach noise out because he said it just sounded like fuzz. I was like, no, this is cool. It's like this works. You can hear the seagulls a little bit, and
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of white noise sounds cool. I mean, I love lo-fi stuff. That's like my favorite shit to make. So,
right, yeah,
but I mean, I love that. Like when you hear that kind of stuff in songs, it almost makes it more of a takes you to more of like a scene, if that
yeah,
makes
like
sense.
exactly, yeah. And I like for that song, Love Song, I was totally envisioning like a beach in Italy or something at
Mm-hmm.
nighttime. You know what I mean? It's just like that's what it is. It's a love song, you know. And I don't know. I just thought it sounded really cool. I've been listening to Dean Martin a lot, and you
Mm-hmm.
just hear the Italian music with Dean Martin on his like slow songs, and that's really what inspired me for that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, why the fuck Idaho? And what's the
I
whole
never.
story of you going there?
So Charlene and I, we wanted to get out of Maryland and go somewhere, and we didn't really know where we wanted to go. It's we could go anywhere,
Did you plan
and
Idaho before you went on the adventure,
kind of.
or you just ended up there?
We first we drove down to Florida. I have a friend who lives in Florida, and we
Mm-hmm.
said let's go check it out. Stay for a little bit, and we got there, and it was really nice. It was cool, and I don't know. I'm from where you are from, Maryland. So there's no
Yeah.
trees in Florida, at least where we're from. There's no big forests or anything. Um, so I don't know. I just thought it was nice. It was cool. You have the beach, but I kind of wanted more nature. And at a certain point, I said, well, why are we going? Why are we so dead set on Florida? We can go anywhere. So that night we left. We drove to Texas. We drove all through the South. We got to Texas, and Texas was great. It was really nice. Wasn't really my thing personally, but so we tried Texas out. It was really cool, but it just wasn't for me. We drove back. We drove all through Tennessee, whatever, and we got back to Maryland. And I just started doing research on all these different
Oh,
states and what they're about
I
and what
didn't
they stand
know.
for.
I didn't even know that you went on. You went all the way to Texas and then came back.
Yeah, we drove to Texas in a night, and like we got there in the morning, and we were like, "This is cool." We went to Dallas, went to Houston. We pretty much stayed on the eastern side of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying to myself, gosh, if we want to find a place in Texas, I mean, there's a lot of land to track. I don't even know anybody who lives in Texas. I do now, but I didn't then.
Right.
And, so we went back to Maryland, and I said, well, let's regroup and let's really think about this because we can go anywhere we want. I don't have a job anymore. Our lease is up. The world is our oyster.
Mm-hmm.
So I just was doing research, and then I looked at Idaho on paper, and I said, this is really cool. I like, it just sounds really neat, and so we said, all right, well, let's travel across the country. Let's check every place out, and Idaho will be the last stop. And I'll set up like a job interview there. And if we get there and we don't like it, we'll just bounce and we'll split.
Right.
So we traveled all across the country. We camped in every state. And James was only 2 months. 2 months. Yeah. That's
That's
he
what's
was
the
2 months.
craziest part about going driving across the country is you brought a baby
He
with you.
loved it. Charlene was less comfortable than him. He was having a great time. And no, so we had a fun time. It was awesome. And we get to California. We drive up the coast of California, and then we split over. We go to Oregon, and then we split over Oregon to Idaho. And we got to Idaho, Boise, and it was just it was crazy. I said because I thought we were kind of coming into like a cow town, where there was going to be nobody.
Yeah.
And so we got into Boise, and there was literally nothing. There was no crime. It's clean. There's stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And like the first day I was there, I told Charlene, I said, we're staying. I said, this is awesome. I've never heard of a city that's clean or no, like people don't kill each other every day. It's just insane.
Mm-hmm.
So we started meeting people here. Everybody we meet is super nice. People just talk to you out of nowhere. It's really cool. And then I found out everybody's moving here apparently. So there's this big
Huh.
rush to go to Idaho, I guess from California, from Oregon, from all these places. People are just like swarming Idaho. So the people that are from here are pretty pissed off. Sorry, people of Idaho. I don't want to change anything,
Yeah,
but
but you're a foreigner to Idaho, so it's fine.
I'm from Baltimore, so they feel bad for me. Like I have a guy who's from Minnesota, and they feel horrible for him. They're like, "Oh yeah, come, you're fine. Yeah, escape," you know.
Right?
But like people from California come here and they build all this really cool stuff. So you can't really complain. I have
Mm,
a friend of mine. He says he likes what the Californians have built. Now just go home. But that's not fair. I think people they build really cool things. I think it's neat. I think it's I people here are just afraid that it's going to change and they don't want that. But there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. I think because of a lot of the people that have come here. That's
right.
just the nature of it. I don't know.
And hopefully, with all those people coming, that should build a music scene there too.
Well, and yeah,
Hopefully.
we
I
just
mean, I
had a
know we
festival.
were talking about that the other day. I mean, you don't really. You said the music scene is kind of normal, but you haven't been out doing shows or anything yet. Once you get out there, I mean, with all those new people coming there, it could really explode.
Yeah, well, and it's already kind of popping here.
Mm,
We just had a music festival, Tree Fort, coming to town, and there was a lot of people that attended that. There's a lot of places you could play live music, and there's a lot of bands. Um, yeah, because I don't know, it just I think there's a scene here. You go anywhere, people are playing music.
yeah.
So there is a scene here. I've noticed just from being around is what we're doing is very different
Mm,
as usual, which is very nice. Because I come here and I'm thinking it's going to be so different, but it seems to be anywhere you go, musicians are kind of all alike. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like they kind of do the same things, hang out with the same people. It's just so I don't know. I've noticed that just traveling all across the country is just musicians. They kind of stick to what they do and stick to who they are. You
Yeah.
know.
And they always congregate together.
Well, I don't blame them, but it's funny because I'm just so I don't want to say I'm different, like it's a bad or good thing, but
No, but the
I'm
music is different.
so yeah, I'm kind of just doing my own thing. Like I had an interaction with a guy and we got in an argument because he was saying Phil Spector is worthless. And I was like, dude, you're an idiot. And he was like, well, producers are idiots. They don't do anything. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't know how anything
They're the ones
works.
who create it.
I'm like, I don't care what you do. I'm like, you're dumb.
Mm.
I just, so I'm always butting heads with anybody wherever I go, just because I don't know, the way I see things is a little, I don't fit
That's
in with,
just you.
I agree with the rappers, but I don't agree, and I agree with these guys, but I don't agree, so I just kind of try to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And, and I think, if you build it, they will come, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, the interesting thing though, like as far as performing goes, like for us when we first started doing shows, it was easy. We'd find rap shows and join
Right.
them. For you, how are you gonna? I guess find shows to perform at with. You know what I mean? Because like the
Well,
smaller shows are typically there's like five bands that all have a set that night.
right.
You plan on just going for whatever the hell you can find and just
I'll
do
go
what
for
you
whatever.
guys do and see what the
If,
reaction is?
if I have a good act, if I have a good thing to present to people, I'll go anywhere. I don't care.
Yeah.
My big concern is I don't want to go somewhere with a bad piss poor act and then make a bad, impression,
Right.
which you do anyways, but I want it to be professional.
Well, it's
I
always a
want
possibility that you can perform and people just don't like it. Even if
right.
it's the best performance you've ever done, there's always the chance that there's going to be people who don't like it.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, that's what you're going to face anywhere. And that's what I've discovered with the music is that I've kind of stopped caring what people think because there's always going to be people who don't like your music for whatever reason. And then there's going to be people who love it. So you just do your thing and just keep rocking. I just try to make better music every time I make it. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's honest to God. And I'm not kissing anybody's ass or anything, but I do it for the fans. The fans are why I make the music. The people who just appreciate what I do and like what I do, that's why I do it. And that's why I'm very particular and I'm kind of hard to work with because I don't want to give the people who like what I do a bad product.
Right.
And that goes for live. I don't mind having a fun time live and joking around and making mistakes here and there, but I at least want to have it together to where we're putting our heart and soul into it and not just some joke of an act. I don't mind being a clown and being a joker and having fun,
Right.
but I do it. We're supposed to give the audience, the fans, a performance, and it's supposed to be a show, and you pay for it and you attend it. It should be worth your time one way or the other. And it shouldn't be just some, I have to put the care into it because I really do value and cherish the fans. It's the reason why we do anything, you
Right.
know? Why would we make music if people didn't listen to it? It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. That's something that I love that you've been doing, especially because you've been posting on your Instagram and stuff like that. I feel like the message that you're trying to spread is very positive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've lived in the negative world and it's just soul crushing. It's destroying. It's sad.
Mm.
It's not fun.
And your music
And
reflects that too,
yeah,
which is
totally.
one of my other favorite things about it is that it's not like you're just making music and then saying, "Oh, everybody love everybody." It's like you can really hear it in your music that you're trying to spread a positive, loving message to everybody.
Yeah, and I honestly I like to do it because what I notice in music today is it's either super dark, it's super in your face. This is supposed to be sad, traumatic. Look at me, or it's put a gun to your head. You're gonna be happy, or I'm gonna pull the trigger. Like
Mm.
it's so forced, and it's so just it's so obvious. Like okay, we're making a happy song. Like whoop de doo.
Yeah, it's not
And
genuine.
it's boring,
I mean,
and
anybody can make a song singing, "I'm happy."
yeah, and it's just and to me, there's no life. It's like I wish I could take both sides and combine them
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I'm trying to do. Because I respect, if I listen to a rap song or a pop song, I can hear the beat, I can hear the effects, I can hear what they're doing, and it's super cool. I
Mm-hmm.
get it, but then the message, there's no, there's not a lot of singing. It's not for me. And then you hear the happy music they're singing, but it just sounds so weak. It sounds so
Almost forced.
it's so wimpy. It's
Yeah.
just it's weenie music. And I honestly I love to make, a positive sounding song as far as the chords go. And then the lyrics are a little like you're like, whoa, the lyrics are kind of melancholy. But you didn't notice that they were melancholy at first because the song sounds positive. And there's that kind of going against each other because I don't know, it just music today, it freaks me out. I hear all the time people go, "Oh, well, I'm broken," and "Oh, poor me." So I write a song called "It's Time to Put It Back Together Again." Put yourself back together again. You're broken, I get it. Everybody's upset. Everybody's sad. Everybody goes through stuff, but it's time to get ourselves back together and be happy. I mean, I don't see a crime in being happy and enjoying life because once I stopped taking things personally, once I stopped making it all about myself, I really started to enjoy people, whether they're good or bad or anything. I just really started to see the light and started to see people for how they are versus how I want them to be.
Yeah.
And my life has gotten so much better. It's so much easier because I just learned to forgive people and understand where they're coming from. Even if I don't agree with them,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. That's the nature of life. I always say, I don't want to agree with everybody. My best friends are who I argue with most, and that's what makes your blood flow. That's what keeps life enjoyable. Is you just kind of battle each other, and that's interaction. That's just how it works.
Right.
People just want this padded foam room to live in, to where they can never get hurt, they can never be vulnerable, and you just have to kind of open up and just stop taking things so personally.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and that's like you were just saying. You say about putting it back together again. It's almost like that is acknowledging the darker parts, but looking at it from a different perspective.
Right.
If that makes
Because
sense.
I'm a solutions guy, and I drive my wife nuts all the time because she wants to just complain or something, and I'm always offering a solution. And
Mm-hmm.
but that's the nature of a lot of people. People don't want a solution all the time. They just kind of want to talk and talk and talk. And I'm a no bullshit kind of guy. I can't stand it. I want to figure out what's going on. I want to prevent it. I want to fix it and just move on because quite frankly, I don't have the energy and the time to dwell on things and to be upset. I'm just looking for the solution.
Well, you get
And I think
exhausted real quick dwelling on stuff.
boring. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's pathetic, and I don't hate people for doing it. I don't. I want to help them, but I can't do anything. It's totally up to them. All I can do is just do my thing and be an example. And maybe they'll pick it up, maybe they won't, but I'm just going to be the example that I would like to be,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I find, like with myself, I find myself a lot of times I'll go a long time being good, and then I go like being positive about everything, and then I'll have these random like spells of where it just like everything
Yeah,
just like tanks, and I just feel like shit about everything for a while.
yeah,
But it's weird. Like I never like it sucks when that shit happens. But it's like I always know that like it always gets better.
yeah.
Like
Well,
I
and
always look at it as like a roller coaster. You know, you always have the dips in the roller coaster, but then you come back up,
what goes up must come down, and vice
and then
versa.
coming down always goes a lot faster,
I
and
try
then
to.
it's a slow climb back up.
Yeah, 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 exactly. But and it's funny because I always say I try to deal with the easy things in life. That whatever my issues are, I try to deal with them. So that way, when there's something really bad that goes on, I don't tank and crash.
Right.
You know, because what song on the album It's Happening Now, that's what that song's about. That song's about the first line, you build yourself up just to let yourself down while the world keeps spinning around.
Mm-hmm.
In that song I also kind of underlying, I talk about even stuff like politics, where it's like it's happening now, it was happening then, round and round and round it goes again. Whatever politics are going on, whatever's going on in the world, it's always a cycle. It's always, people were freaking out 40 years ago about something. They're freaking out today. And it's just, we always figure it out. We always end up, on our feet. So just relax. Like, don't get caught up in the freak out and I think it's,
if you get caught up in the freak out, you're almost always living in like a state of paranoia, I feel like.
totally. Yeah. And I've been there. I've lived in that. And it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. I'd rather focus on my family and focus on the things that are right in front of me and focus on the people that are right in front of me, because I can get along with anybody, whatever they believe in. I can get along with whoever, and, it's funny. The guy I work with, we're completely opposites as far as what we believe in, but we're like best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it should be. I think we get so caught up in just hating each other for these dumb reasons. And, we're all just, it's really silly because I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, whoever else doesn't matter. You know what I mean? This is all that matters right now. Because
Right.
that's what's happening right now, and that's the whole song. It's happening now.
Mm-hmm. Just being in the moment.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in that. We used to make fun of the YOLO people, but they were right. They had a good point. I've learned that, the past is gone and the future doesn't exist. It's just not here yet. So you can make your plans, your vague plans, but take it day by day, one step at a time.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen.
That's something I've been getting into, like meditating and stuff.
Yeah.
It's all about presence and being in the present moment, stuff like that. And I forget who said it, but somebody said they had a quote that was like, anxiety comes from worrying about the future, and depression comes from worrying about the past.
Totally.
So if you can get rid of both of those and just focus on what's in front of you right now, which is a lot easier said than done a lot of times, but
yeah,
it definitely makes things easier.
Well, and a big change for me with all that, figuring all that out, was forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started to just forgive and, forgive myself, forgive my parents, whoever.
Forgiving yourself is a big one too.
Well, and my life just changed.
Mm.
It's funny because I used to get so hung up on all these different things. And once I just started really understanding where people are coming from and just forgiving them, and just, because I said one day to Charlene, I said, what's more important, like saying you're sorry or forgiving somebody? Because think about it, I make a mistake, I say I'm sorry a million times, but you won't forgive me. So who's the worst of the person? I think.
Yeah, if you know somebody feels bad about what they did, but you're still like, oh, fuck them.
Well, and it's like, okay, would you rather have somebody forgive or have somebody apologize? And I'd rather have somebody forgive.
Yeah.
Because that's truly like, if you can look at somebody that screwed you over and they don't feel bad about it and you can forgive them, you're an awesome person.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? You understand where they're coming from. They can't help it. And you're letting it go and you're moving on and you're the better person. So it's not about like, because a lot of people go, well, they didn't apologize to me. They didn't say sorry, but you're never going to get that in life. You got to just keep moving. And that's my big philosophy in life too, is keep moving. Don't stop moving. Just keep going. Even if something bad happens, you get tripped up, get up, keep moving.
Mm-hmm. can't be dwelling on things.
Yeah, big
Like the
time.
quote I just said, depression comes from worrying about
I
the
like that.
past. If you get stuck sitting there worrying about something that you did yesterday, I mean, if you fucked up yesterday, offended somebody or something, you go and you apologize, and then at that point, like you're saying about forgiveness, it's you did something wrong, you said sorry, and it's kind of on them to be able to move past it, but you can't sit there and worry about them not moving past it,
Well,
type of
absolutely.
thing.
And I don't, it sounds kind of mean, but I don't even apologize anymore. Every time I apologize, they use it against me. And I'm like, come on. You know, I'm trying to be a nice guy, but what I've
Right.
discovered is when you try to be a nice guy, people will just take you for a ride. So, I know my intentions, I know who I am. And so that's the thing. I'm more about forgiving, and it's the apology thing. I don't know. It never works out the way I want it to. It always screws me over. I'm like, why did it's like adding insult to injury. I
Right.
know I did wrong. Don't make my life a living hell because I admitted it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the nature of life. People are really evil, and you got to be mindful of that.
um. Shit, I don't know. That's all the notes I had. You got anything important you want to say to the world?
You don't want to talk about anything else? Oh, thank you. Um, no, I don't have anything I really have to say other than, you know, the album is for everybody. We make the album for the people. That's why I write music. That's why we do it. I know a lot of people don't really have that in mind when they make music. A lot of people are about money or about themselves.
Mm.
And I'm definitely a selfish person when it comes to the music because I want it to be the best. I want to be the best. I'm very competitive about that. But I just want everybody to know that they're the reason why it happens. They're the reason why that song comes out. And and to all the people in life that get kind of hung up or get down on a situation, all my songs come from situations. They come from bad times and good times and average times. And if you can take your situation, whatever it is, and make some art out of it, create some beauty out of it, and just
Well, I was
really
gonna say,
change,
turn it into something beautiful.
change the way you see it, it will change your life. You will start to think about that girl that screwed you over when you were a kid, your whatever girlfriend, and you'll appreciate her because you're like, holy crap, thank you for being such a jerk. Or, the things you did wrong, you're going to appreciate it because it's not that big of a deal. Life is not that serious. It's mysterious. It's a toss up. You don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know who you're going to meet, how it's going to go. So you might as well have fun. You might as well enjoy it and just realize it's a very beautiful world. I mean, I wrote that song when I took a walk in the park after James was born, and I heard it I was just looking around, and I literally wrote my observations, and then I just ran home and recorded it.
Mm.
And that song's super deep to me because it's about looking around and seeing the beauty and the art and everything. And it's so funny because I meet a lot of people who are very, very into being esoteric and being very, different. And it's just don't ever force anything. I think you should treat people how you want to be treated. And I think you should, make art how you'd like to view. I think everybody enjoys a beautiful art piece. And if you want to make something that's very avant-garde and strange, that's fine.
Right.
I'm not particularly into it anymore myself. It just doesn't do anything for me. I think there's nothing wrong with being commercial as long as I think what's his face said it, not Brenton Wood, but another guy. He said, if it sounds good, it's commercial enough to me,
Mm-hmm.
And I think people get so caught up in this box of, is it commercial? Is it not? And it just make good music. That's all you need to do. When you write a song, treat it like you want it to be a hit. And when you do that, more people will hear it. It will affect more people and you'll be more successful.
And you have to just go off of the feeling more than trying to go off of what you think is gonna be a hit.
Yeah, totally. Like people ask me what my inspiration for my songs are, and it's honest. I've figured it out. It's God, because when I'm just sitting there playing the piano, all the songs that you've heard come out of nowhere. They literally just they just come from thin air.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, I never force it. If I ever try to force it, it never works out. And when the drugs went away, when the women went away, I started writing more and I started writing better songs. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I realized it's not the drugs, it's not the women. It's literally, it all just comes from God. It just, because it comes from nowhere. And then it just goes into my voice, it goes into my hands, and then it goes out. And that's really my biggest inspiration. I consider myself a Christian artist, but I'm not like singing songs about Bible verses and Jesus. And
Yeah,
I,
I mean,
it's
it's not like gospel music though.
no, because I want to make music that's got that message, that good message, but I want to appeal to anybody. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
just single out one group of people and just be like, okay, you guys are just going to be the ones that listen to me. I want everybody, because to me, the Beach Boys were totally 100% Christian. Were they perfect? No, but they were totally Christian. I even think the Beatles did a lot of really Christian stuff.
Yeah.
But they were there. You have to have a pop sense about things in life, and you can't just go into one bag. You have to really think about things, and you can make a really good song as long as it has that pop sense, that beat, that thing that catches people, that makes them turn their head. And you can include everybody, because that's my thing. I'm very about including all sorts of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, maybe I don't agree with this person or that person, but I'm up for anybody listening to the music. And like I said, I can get along with anybody. I've met a lot of different people, and it's so funny how we're all so alike. And, do I think there's right and wrong? Absolutely. But I always believe in giving everybody a chance. So I never want to put myself in a bag and say, okay, only, like I said, the rapper, he loved you. You love the music.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about. I don't want to, exclude the rappers or exclude the punk guys. I want everybody to like it.
Right.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, and then even if it's not something that I would make or somebody else would make, that doesn't mean that it's not something that you can enjoy
Yeah, exactly.
and feel like where you're coming from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Because it's just about good music.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of getting so sucked into, because we're trying to figure out what my genre is, and I don't even know what my genre is.
That's what I was thinking about that too before we did this. I was trying to figure it out, and I was like, I really don't know.
Because it's like,
I mean, it's kind of got like the old school rock and roll type vibes to it, but it's also very like you said, oldies. You consider a
yeah,
genre. It's got that in it. It's got a little bit of everything.
yeah, it's very, and that's why I call it Beautiful World, because I don't listen to rap or do rap anymore, but you can hear a little bit of that in there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
listen to punk or do punk anymore, but you can hear a little bit of that in there. I
That's
don't
why
listen
that's
to,
something I wanted to ask you about, is because you had a very interesting path through the music to get to the sound that you have now.
like, do you, off the top of your head, do you remember what the solo in the first song, Do You Like Rock and Roll, sounds like? The guitar solo that I play towards the end, that's
No, I don't.
super, super indie. If you go back and listen to that, you'll be like, holy crap, that's the most indie thing in the world,
I
you
was
know?
just listening to the album today to prepare myself for this, but I
Yeah,
don't
and then you
remember it
forgot it.
that well.
Well, you get to you have the first song, and by the end, you're like,
uh
I don't even know where I started. And I listen to the song because I listen to the album maybe once a week or something just to refresh in my head.
yeah.
I listened to it all on shuffle, and it sounded really good on shuffle, which was nice because we really spent time and picked the order out, because I wanted to make it like a story. Like you have, Do You Like Rock and Roll? Do You Love Me Too? Beautiful. It's just kind of like a story, and then by the end of it, it's like in the beginning you first meet someone and you start dating, and then the middle it's like things are going good, and then by the end it's like the breakup, and then you're
Right.
like reminiscing. So that's how we
Here
wanted to really
comes the
frame.
rain.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm just super proud of it. I'm really proud of it. I'm super grateful of all the people that have influenced me, like Sonny Bono, Phil Spector, Burt Bacharach, Brian Wilson, Paul McCartney. I mean, all those guys. It's John Lennon, just all these greats. Ray Conniff. It's just, I can go on and on.
Mm.
Gamble and Hoff are awesome. Smokey Robinson, Motown, they're awesome. Um, and I recommend anybody just like listen to these guys, because this is history. If you want to learn, where music starts, go to the beginnings and then work your way up. And I'm telling you, to any rappers or whoever, it's going to amplify the way you do things. It's going to change the way you do things, because you're going to hear where it all started versus, every generation, when you record on tape, when you record once, okay, you have your vocal track. And then say you record over that, the original vocal track starts to degrade and so on and so forth.
Right.
So if you have a sense of music where it starts, you will be so much stronger, because what happens is artists are like kind of recycling off each other. And, they'll be like, oh, that guy from the 90s is a classic. But you could learn so much from the guy from the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, the 80s. There's so much to learn
Yeah,
from.
the guy from the 90s got that from the 80s. The guy from the 80s got it from the 70s, and
Exactly.
it all cycles back.
Exactly. And it's not a problem to like the guy from the 90s or the 2000s. That's great. But just learn your history. And I'm not really a history guy with, I know basic history or whatever, but I'm really into music history. And that's what changed my life, because I'd find out, okay, I like the Beach Boys. Now, who were the Beach Boys really inspired by? Okay, Chuck Berry and the Four Freshmen. Who the hell are the Four Freshmen? And then I listen to the Four Freshmen, and there's some, preppy kind of vocal group, jazz vocal group, and they changed my life. I mean, they do this crazy kind of harmony, and if they didn't exist, the Beach Boys would have had a totally different sound as far as harmony goes.
If they even existed.
Exactly. So I look at these guys and I follow them and I like what they do. And then I start to build this whole repertoire of my own tool belt of all these different guys that I like. And then you add in the modern stuff that I grew up listening to, and it's awesome. It turns out to this really cool thing.
Yeah.
Bob Crew from Four Seasons. He's an awesome producer as well. I can't forget about Bob Crew, because the Four Seasons is like if you hear my music, I just hear the Four Seasons. Frankie Valli, the falsetto, that's all I hear. But everybody hears the Beach Boys, which is cool.
Yeah, but I hear the Beach Boys too, but that's because they're a more known group too.
Exactly.
And if they were inspired by them, then that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So I'm just super grateful of all those. Jan and Dean is another one. Jan Berry is awesome. But I don't know. I think we need to get out of a box. Today it's so, okay, we are so open and we're so different, but now it's becoming, the different kids are like, that's what everybody does. So if you wear like a plaid button up, you're kind of weird now. It's like, you notice that how we're coming around where, okay, we're metalheads, but we don't like anybody else in our group. And I don't know. I just like to make a big open group of weird people, whoever, and just make great music. And I think it's going to be a revival. I think people are really hungry for the old kind of stuff. And I'm not even going for an old sound. It's just what I like to listen to. So that's what I make. And I don't know. I think it'll swing around completely. And I hope, honest to God, that, rappers and whoever, they start to really put stuff together more musically. Like, you're learning piano. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so cool, because it's only going to make your music better.
Right.
It's not like, okay, you're a fancy classical pianist, so you're better. It doesn't matter about that, how good you are at the piano, but at least you're putting some flavor in there that you can't really get off a program. Because anybody can buy the program and use it, but you are your own program right now. When you're playing the piano, your style, your way, that's your program, and nobody can replicate that.
Well, it's interesting with rap, because it's kind of come full circle. Started out with just sampling.
Right.
Which sampling was from the older music. But now it's at a point where there's some people who hate sampling. And they're like, well, you're not even making music if you don't play all your own things, which I understand. But if you're making rap music that way, you gotta realize where rap music came from, which was sampling. So it's like a weird cycle how it's gone to where some people who produce rap music now are so against sampling, but it's like that's where it was born.
Yeah, and I kind of had a question, about sampling, where I was doing a cover of a song, and I said, well, isn't that kind of the same thing as sampling? Where I'm covering it, I'm playing somebody else's music, because I was always kind of not into sampling, and I always had this argument over the years, because I come from the thought of, there's so much cool stuff you can make. Right. So make it. Like, the guy that you're sampling off of, he had this awesome idea and he made this cool sound. So you do the same, and you're going to make your own original sound, and it's going to sound awesome. And that's my deal with sampling, because I understand it's an art and it's, you do it for your own thing. I just always came from the thought of, well, why don't you just make your own thing and it'll be yours, you own it, and that's it. Like, because I'm just totally in the school, because I ran a rap studio for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and there was 20 guys there, and one of them played an instrument. Like
Right.
the rest of them could mess around on the keyboard, but and that really blew my mind because the sessions and everything, it was just boring. I was
Mm-hmm.
so bored, and I was just thinking about like, okay, if we all just like got together and sang and did some weird harmony, whatever, or we played piano and jammed, we could make something so original and so cool. But I don't know, we're just kind of like recycling stuff and using the same kind of like tones and same kind of beats. I come from the thought of let's make our own. Let's make our own stamp on history.
Right.
And because I can see my stuff being sampled down the road. People have already asked me if they can sample my stuff.
I asked you, and then the next day on Instagram, you said you didn't like sampling, and I was like, I'm not gonna sample that now.
Wait, hold on. I cut out. You asked me, and then what? What?
Oh, I remember. I think it was early on. I asked you to send me that, and I was gonna sample it. And then the next day on Instagram, you said something about how you didn't like sampling, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna sample that now.
There you go. No, because I don't actually mind if you sample it. I had a couple other people ask me, and I don't. It just legally they tell me that I can't sample it because it like interfere. If you put it on YouTube, it interferes with if I get money or something. It just I don't know. So I'd have to look into it. But I
Well, how
wouldn't
I
mind
would
it.
do it if I did it is I would put you as like a featured artist, and then you can split the distributions.
I like that, and give credit to where it's due. Give
And I
credit to
mean,
people.
even if, like you were saying with early on, you were already talking about how you wanted to try to maybe put some bass and drums behind it, and that's the one that I wanted to sample. Could almost do it just as like a Phil Drummond remix type thing or
Yeah.
something.
And I've honestly become a little bit more sympathetic to samplers. I don't do it myself, but I totally get it. And if I can cover a song, then somebody can sample.
Yeah.
I don't see a big difference there. That's what kind of threw me off where I was saying, well, if I cover, why should I be against people sampling? Because I guess it's kind of technically the same thing.
Sort of. I
Um,
mean, you're still playing it on your own rather than actually taking what they played, but
right.
I mean, ideally, it's
I
similar.
just I hear the sample in a song, and they always use an old song, and I hear the sample, and I'm like, whoa, and then the sample goes away, and you're like, oh, come on, you're like, I just get so excited. I'm like, that's so cool. Oh, that old song's so awesome, and then it like
uh,
goes, and I'm like, oh, come on, you're killing me. Ugh. You
See,
know,
the thing that I love about sampling the most is that you could take 5 producers like that make rap beats,
hmm
give them all the same sample,
and they'll do different
and
things.
none of them are gonna sound the same at all.
Great. No,
That's the
totally.
that's the thing that I think is like the coolest out of it is like taking something and creating something because how your mind works to use the sample is
Is
completely
the
different
art.
from how anybody else would do it.
That's the art.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just what I had to come to terms with is that's its own category. I don't like finger painting with my dick, but that's its own, that's whatever, that's what they do, you know,
Somebody
and
might be into it.
that's fine. But that's just what it is. And I see these guys on Instagram and they'll make stuff that sounds like it's old school and then they make every part of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's just where I kind of go, well, that's really cool. Like make something that you own and it's yours, and you're like all of my criticism of anybody at any time, it comes from me just looking at somebody, you or whoever, and just thinking you're capable.
Right.
And that's the kind of message I always get out to whoever. And it's what I truly believe in is I believe everybody's capable. I believe everybody has this spirit inside of them. I believe everybody has this destiny and this, just this journey that they have to go on. It's all going to be different. It's not all going to be the same, but I really see the light in everybody. And
Mm.
I think people are so hard on themselves and so down on themselves. I meet so many people that are like, I'm not a singer. I can't sing. I could never sing. Well, nobody can when they first start.
Uh,
It's when you go to the gym and you try to lift the heaviest weights, of course you're not going to do it right.
yeah.
Of course you're going to mess up. But if you practice and you put your time into it, you'll get better and better. And people hate it when I talk to them about, they're like, oh, how do I get to play the piano like you or sing like you? And I just tell them your time. That's it. Like there's no
Yeah, you've
secret.
spent the time learning how to do it.
I gave up a social life. I said, you know what? I'm not going to talk to girls. I'm not going to hang out with people, I'm only going to play music. And I did that for years. And
Mm.
I wrote hundreds of songs, and that's just what I did. I don't even think I'm that great of a piano player. People think I'm awesome. And I think I could get better every day. I think as a singer, I could get better every day. I'm my worst critic, but I'm not hard on myself. I just know I can get better, and it's a process.
Right.
And today, I think it just breaks my heart today because a lot of young people are super angry. A lot of young people are super upset, and they're just, they're kind of hopeless. They're watching way too much TV, dude, and they're just kind of down in the dumps. And all I know is I used to be super down in the dumps. I used to be super angry. I used to be super upset. And then I had a change in my life. And the old music really changed the way I see things. It really, really affected me deeply.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of people go through like a religious moment or like, something like that. I went through a moment where I found a certain kind of music like groovin'. That was the first song I covered because when I heard that song the first time, it changed my life.
Right.
When I heard the first couple seconds of that song, I looked outside and I noticed the leaves on the trees. I noticed like, the birds and I was like, holy crap, I can visualize it with this song.
Right.
And that's what that music did for me. It totally just changed the way I looked at life. And I went, holy crap, I want to help. I want to do this for everybody. Like I want to give this to people.
Yeah, it's almost
And,
like like you had an epiphany.
yeah,
Like
totally.
people do when they find religion or something, but you just happen to find it through the music.
Yeah. And I bought a Burt Bacharach album for $2 from Goodwill. And I went home and listened to it, and it just changed my life. It's little things like that I did. And I don't know. I've had good times, I've had bad times, but I'm having a lot more good times than bad times. And I'm just loving life. I think it's incredible. I think it's amazing. And singing has saved my life. I used to get laughed at the way I sang. And now it's like people really like the way I sing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get laughed at. You're going to get made fun of. But at the end of the day, no matter what you think or what you believe in, they're going to hate you either way. Whatever. Who cares what people think? Who cares about them? Just do your thing. And the real good people, the true people are going to come through and they're going to be there for you. You just do your thing. I think with singing, people are so afraid to sing because they're going to get made fun of or laughed at. Sing in your car, and just get it out. I've met so many frustrated people. And you sit them down and you're like, just scream at the top of your lungs. And they're so afraid to do it. And you're like, just do it. And you push it out of them and it's primal. And then you just, wash it out. Just get all your crap out. Stop holding it in and just speak your mind. And that's what it's all about. Don't be afraid of who you are. Don't be afraid of where you come from. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of where you come from. You're significant. And, don't let anybody that tells you, you can't do this or you can't do that or you should be ashamed of this or that. That's not your friend. That's your enemy. So screw them and get around people that are really going to look out for you and support you and back you up. And people that are going to test you and say, hey, you're flat. Hey, you're sharp. But they're going to still keep singing with you. But they're like, hey, by the way, like, pump up the volume or whatever.
Right.
You want to be around people that are going to challenge you and help you grow. And a lot of times with bands and music, people just want to be like buddies and nobody wants to be told, hey, you're playing that wrong. It's such a big deal if you get told you're playing a wrong note. Oh my God. So I don't know. I think you should really surround yourself with people who they want the best for you. They want the best for what you're doing.
That's going to make you better.
Yeah. You want the best.
Especially in a band, it's going to make the whole band better.
Well, and I was looking at your pictures of your guys' group and your guys' performances, and I love what you guys have. I get really jealous of what you guys have because you guys are like brothers. You're like a band of it's so amazing. And you guys are what it's about. That's what you guys are doing. It's so cool because you guys are, you're super family oriented, but your whole gang is like, it's a family.
Right.
And it's just, you guys go on stage, you have fun, you just enjoy yourselves, and you guys are always kind of working together and making music and just, doing stuff and that's really, really where it's at. That's so cool. And, like how you said, Tyler's really good at putting stuff together or, the kind of, what were you saying? Like, you're really good at producing the stuff, but he's good at like writing it.
Tyler's he's a good ass rapper. That's like his thing.
Yeah. So, and it's just like, and what, Kevin is a singer.
Yeah.
It's just
Mm,
you guys all have your strong suits and you guys are all brothers and you're all just in the team and you're in it together. And even with your father, I think it's just so cool.
mm,
I just think it's really, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to build, and it's slow, because I'm kind of starting from the ground up. I've had a bunch of people from my past, and I'm very grateful for them, but they're kind of gone now because I'm in
right.
Idaho. So I'm starting this whole thing from scratch, and I'm trying to model what I have after what you do. I really admire what you guys have and what you do. I think it's so special and so cool.
Just don't try too hard. Make sure it comes together organic.
I could never grow a beard like yours. No way.
You
No, I couldn't. I've tried.
could
It doesn't
try.
work. It grows here, it grows here, it grows here, a little
Look, you
here.
start growing it. By the time it's all grown and it's this long, you'll have an entire crew.
I'm gonna straighten it and then make it longer. But I mean, no, I really, and I'm not kissing your ass or anything. It's just, I noticed that what you guys have is that's what it's about. That's what it should be. And what's tough about music and bands is that there's so much ego, there's so much competition, and I'm just all about making good music. That's all I
Hmm.
care about. I've been in so many groups and played with so many people where it's not about making good music. It's like about like whatever self-serving thing you're trying to do, and it
Well,
drives me insane.
the ego's the hard part.
Yeah,
And that's what I think we're. I mean, we've been a group for some years now. But I feel like the music we've been making recently, we're starting to figure out that it's not about everybody needs to be on every single song or whatever. It's more about what's going to make the best song.
right. And like, imagine you come into a room and you're like a really good guitarist, and I'm like, all right, Zach, the for 40 bars, you just do nothing, and then play bank. All right, and then shut up for another 40
And
bars.
if that's
You
what makes
like,
a good song, that's fine.
but like a lot of guys are like, screw you, I want a
Yeah,
solo. The whole
right.
thing, like, it's funny because I told you in the beginning, I started out with Blink 182,
Mm,
and they're a great band. They're really cool live. They're awesome. They're funny. Their music video stuff, I kind of model my stuff because they have that Jan and Dean kind of just make yourself look stupid style, and I like
uh-huh.
that. But the way I learned drums was through their drummer, Travis Barker, I think it
Travis
is,
Barker, yep.
and just crazy drumming. And people thought I was really
And
good. I was
now
like
you're
doing
talking
drum.
about music that I know.
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing like I did like a drum contest. I got second place, and I was like 15 or 16 or whatever. And it was just like cool. But then if you ask me what's a good drummer today, a good drummer is someone that could be mistaken for a robot. Just somebody that's
Hmm.
boom, 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 over and over. And maybe at the 30th bar, you go, bada boom, boom, and then go
Uh-huh.
boom.
And then right
That to
back
me
to it.
that to me is so special because when I started putting these songs together and writing songs, I realized if you have the first 12 bars as like, very, nothing's going on. And then at the 12th bar at the end of it, pop, and then you click it. That's what like techno is. That's what like rap does,
Yeah.
that pop sense.
Hmm.
So being a good drummer, anybody can flail their arms about and do whatever. Anybody can learn how to solo, but to be tasteful, and that's the key with music is to have taste. That's
Hmm.
that's what it's about. Have a taste, have the ability to go, whoa, 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 stop what you're doing and just do something here because that accents what we're doing.
Right.
Then activate it there, and that's what orchestrating and conducting and arranging is about because you're pulling all these things together. And it really blew my mind writing songs where I would do the 12 bars and then I'd activate some other layer, and then the song would get thicker after that 12 bars, and then you do
Hmm.
the solo, and then you go back to the original, or you know what I mean, and you
Yeah.
just play with this whole thing, and it turns into, if you make rap, if I make whatever whatever the hell it is, it turns into an orchestra piece. Even though we're not classical guys, that we're still doing that. What they're doing, we're just a little bit more elementary about it, a little bit, which sometimes can work out better if you're a little bit dumb,
Yeah.
and you just are winging it. I don't like theory too much because you learn scales and then you can't leave the scales. But it's the trick is learning how to like they say with I think Bill Evans, he's a jazz pianist. He's really was an awesome jazz pianist, one of my favorites. And he said with jazz, you have to learn everything about music. And then when you sit at the piano, you sit at the drums, you forget everything. And you just let your conscience be your guide.
What was it, Bill
Or your
Evans?
subconscious, I should say.
Sorry, I was listening, but Bill Evans, is that what you said? Um,
Zach,
did I cut out?
can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
want me to repeat anything?
No, I heard what you were saying, but I was just making sure you said Bill Evans, right? I was writing
Yeah,
it down.
yeah. No,
Okay.
he's because there's crazy jazz, and
Mm-hmm.
then the jazz with bah, bah, they're just it's just nothing. And then there's like Frank Sinatra jazz, which is really cool. But Bill Evans is really cool because you ever see the YouTube playlist for like study music? I swear to God, they modeled it after Bill Evans. It's just very nice, calm,
Oh yeah, yeah,
very.
yeah.
It's almost like melancholy.
I listen to that stuff
It's
all the time.
so nice.
When I'm
And
like playing Xbox or something, I always put that on, and that's just what it just
yeah,
relaxes me while I'm sitting there playing.
totally. And I think it's really cool, and I learned a lot from that guy, and he's one of my big inspirations. But I could never do jazz. Jazz is, I don't know, it's just not my thing. There's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just
It's very
because I like
random.
jazz. Yeah, it's very random, and I like jazz. It's just I like structure, and that's why I really like guys like Phil Spector. Because
Mm.
if you listen to the Ronettes, that's Phil
Yeah, you've
Spector.
showed me them.
Dude, it's just this crazy sound. It's this big, huge sound, and he'll take a piano, another piano, a bass, a guitar, and then he'll do the same riff with those things.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like Sonny, if you ever listen to my songs and I play the bells, the high bells with the guitar licks, and they do the same thing, I got that from Sonny Bono, Sonny and Cher. That's what they do. Jan and Dean. That's where I get a lot of my drum fills, inspiration from.
So it's playing the
So
same thing, just on different instruments
yeah. So
and
on the
just
album,
layering them with each other, I guess.
yeah, so you've listened to After All and you've heard the beginning
Yeah.
and it does the bum ba da da dum
Mm-hmm.
and then like after two times it gets kind of like a different sound to it. And then so what I did was I originally recorded the bells, dun 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 dun, dun the high
Yeah.
bells, and then after like one or two times of that I put a piano on that doing the same exact thing. And then I recorded a piano but with thumbtacks on the hammers on the inside to give it like a very ethereal.
Yeah, I remember you texted me something about like a video of that when you first tried that.
Yeah. And then I'll take the guitar and do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just what gives a character, and I don't need to depend on a lot of effects. I just and my father, he's a big sound guy. He's really talented and he's more of a gear guy. And I'm not a gear guy at all. I mean, I told him I recorded the whole thing with a $35 microphone and he was just blown away. But he's like, how do you get your voice to sound like that? And I'm just like, I just record over it. I just
Mm.
like do harmonies. And then to make them thicker, I just do all the harmonies twice, and so that's double tracking. That's,
Right.
over. So, I think that's cool. I love that. I love the way the harmonies sound after all. That really blew my mind. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So cool, man. That's what I want to make. If I can make every song with that kind of thick harmony,
Mm.
that's cool.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to try that.
Okay.
Like layering stuff like that. I mean, when we record, I already layer my vocals, but especially now that I'm working on learning piano, I'm gonna have to try
Right.
layering different sounds together like that. That's a cool
Yeah,
idea.
it's a really cool way that you can just get a sound that nobody else is going to get except
Mm.
for you. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what it's all about. You want to make something different and interesting, but just, you want to make it your own.
Right. All right. I think that's a good spot to stop on. Um. So beautiful world. I'll put the link in the description and stuff. Just tell people where they can find you.
You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music. You can find it everywhere, anywhere you need to. You can go to Bandcamp. You can donate to us. You can also go to collinwesterlund.com. Westerlund, Westerlund. You can check us out there. You can go to Instagram. You go to Facebook. You go to Twitter, whatever. Instagram is the one I use the most. I usually keep up with people on Instagram. We're going to be releasing gear soon, some merchandise, so you can actually wear a shirt with my face on it. If you want to
Oh,
scare
you're
away
actually
people.
making those shirts.
Yeah, we're gonna make those shirts,
Hell
and
yes.
we're working on making CDs. I have a couple people who want to write their kind of opinion on the album. So Zach, if you would like to write your opinion of the album and send it to me, I'd love to put that on the CDs. We're working on vinyl, but it's super expensive, so we might have to wait. Because I'd like to give vinyl copies to people like you, just people that are really supportive of us,
Right.
and people that we cherish. It's just my statement to them. I really honor the people.
That
who
would
like
be a prized possession for me.
And the album cover is so cool. It would just be an
Uh,
awesome album. Yeah, so you can reach us pretty much on all platforms. I like YouTube. I'm not a Spotify guy, but they always say use Spotify. I'm like a 7-year-old man on the inside. Like YouTube. But yeah, you can find us everywhere and go to Instagram and follow me on Instagram because that's where I keep everybody updated the most. And yeah, I hope you check it out. I hope you listen to the album. I hope you listen to it all the way through because it really is an awesome album and it's so cool. It's just so different. And I can't wait to perform live. When we do perform live, I will be telling everybody where we're going, what we're doing, and hopefully we're coming to a town near you, a city near you, and we can play for you. That's the whole point. That's what I want to
I
do.
fucking hope so.
If I make nothing more than just to eat for the night, I'm happy as long as I can get the music to you guys. If you want to move to Idaho and join a band, hit me up. I'm all for it. Yeah, and just find us anywhere. Quite honestly, we try to stay pretty diverse about it where we go, and just please look us up. Please, just give me a chance.
Please.
All I want is a chance. And it's a beautiful world.
It's beautiful.
So beautiful.
So yeah, I'll put the links to all that stuff in the description and stuff. And link to your YouTube, your Spotify, your social medias, and everything.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much for doing this, man.
This was your first time. Was I your first?
You're my first interview, yeah.
I've heard that a lot. It's an honor to be your first. And
how'd I do, dude?
I gotta go. I gotta see other people, and you're cool and everything. It's just
maybe like a 4.
I don't think this is gonna work out. It's not. It has nothing to do with you. It's me. I'm just going through something, and I don't know. So
I get it. Now you're anxiously clicking the pen at me.
I try to stay professional, but you're really pushing me over the edge now. And just don't ask about don't do it. Don't ask about my personal views and my, I just keep it professional. And
sorry,
I'd like to make it big and then say one thing and just get kicked out of the whole club. That's my dream.
You're almost there.
I'm almost there. I'm so close. And yeah, I tell everybody that works with me, I'm like, be prepared. It's going to be bumpy, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. Being different is not easy. It's so hard, but it's so much fun. It's so much better than just going along to get along. Do not go along just to get along. Have fun and enjoy it and just be yourself and be weird.
Amen.
Amen there, partner.
All right, let's end this. I love you, dude.
I love you too, Zach. Thank you, man. You're
no
awesome.
Problem. Oh, there it is. There's my interview with Collin Westerlund. Yeah, make sure you go check out Beautiful World. It's really a great album. I love it. I think it's got something on there that everybody could enjoy, and really just, like I said in the interview, it really just will put you in a good mood. And I really hope you guys enjoyed the conversation that we had. If you did, I'm going to be doing more conversations like this with more people. My next episode will be with another good friend of mine, Jimmy Bones. So hopefully you guys will check that out. If you liked what you watched, go ahead, give it a like, a subscribe, all that bullshit that every YouTuber says. I'm going to be hopefully using this YouTube channel a lot more for different types of content pieces, and at some point I'm going to get all of these conversations that I'm doing uploaded as a podcast to streaming services. I'm still not decided if Philly Needs a Friend is going to be the title of the show. Maybe something better will come to me along the way. But once I do get that up, I'll be uploading all these original ones that are only going on YouTube for now. So, yeah, hope you guys liked it. Have a great day. Love you.